Hi everyone, welcome to Cheltenham Chart episode 4 for the festival of 2022. So I'll just give a quick summation of the horses I saw last week, my view on their performance, my view on where they may go at Cheltenham, a couple of eye catchers who I liked, and I also want to thank everyone for the comments they made last week, and I think I may start to incorporate the comments into the videos, assuming that the mystery poster who puts his bets up doesn't reappear. Getting on with it, and the Radar horses video, which was episode 1, got a real bashing during last week, and you have to hold your hands up when you've got it wrong. Thankfully we've not had a bet yet this year, and a couple of these could have been involved if I had got involved. So Galley Hill on the radar to off the radar in one race. Really poor, never at the races, and far from getting better over chase fences. He's gone backwards, and he's a big money flop for me. I really don't see a forward plan for this horse that would include a festival. Simply terrible performance. I Am Maximus was fairly similar. No, he wasn't fairly similar. That's very unfair. He showed promise, but is he looking like a horse who can beat Kilcratz or Gerhard, Dysart, Dynamo and Three Stripe Life? Well, not on this performance, he certainly wasn't. And I'd need to see a lot more in his second performance. Shiskin was beaten on his first novice hurdle, and maybe this horse can do the same, but for me this was extremely disappointing. Now, Mount Ida will always be dear to my heart, and it was a good start to the season for her. She jumped well. It was a nice victory over Scarlet and Dove, but I wouldn't run into back her for the mare's chase. Firstly, I'm not sure it's the target, and secondly, I think there's a lot more horses to come out yet. Fakir de Durie. I mean, bookmakers cutting the horse for this really need to have a look at themselves. He was entitled to win, and he did. So there's not much more to say about him. Now, My Drogal. Poor Harry Skelton got an absolute slating. And I mean, the biggest one came from Ruby Walsh, who seems to have forgotten that he fell off numerous horses at the last and cost punters the biggest ever payout in history when he came off Annie Power, yet now feels the need to rip into certain jockeys who he doesn't like. I don't see him ripping into his mate Townend quite as much, but I didn't think Harry Skelton did a whole lot wrong here. It was just unfortunate. That second last is a bad fence, and a lot of people think it's not in the right place or it's badly positioned, and it actually took Gin on Lime out virtually as well as plenty of other horses over the weekend. I just thought Harry Skelton was a bit unlucky in this horse, and I think the scathing criticism was over the top. Third time lucky. This horse will win pots, lots of pots as well, but will he win an Arkle? I don't think so. It's easy to dismiss a 10-to-1 shot, Crab a 10-to-1 shot. I just think he's picking up easy pickings. He is a good jumper. He's a nice horse. He's just not for me for the Arkle. I could have him wrong, and I'll have to take my medicine if I do have him wrong. I'm not saying to people not to back him. He's just not for me. Sporting John. I liked his win. If he was my horse, I'd be keeping him over hurdles and looking to go for a stairs hurdle, but he's not my horse, and we'll have to see what sort of campaign they want to have with the horse. But for me, after this win over hurdles, I would be keeping him to hurdles only. French Dynamite. This was an impressive horse at the weekend. His chase debut had been extremely mundane. This was a lot more like it, but it was a beginner's chase. He was a grade 2 hurdler, and I'm sure he can reach grade 2 level over fences as well. It's whether he can go that extra mile and become a grade 1 chaser. That's the real question. Riviere de Tel was a horse who I just thought, well, where are they going to go here? Where are they going to go with this horse now she's won this race? Because she received £18 and she gave Cape Gentleman a fair beating, but that would be down to £7 in an Arkle. Do they target the Arkle? Do they target the Mare's Chase and take it out another 4 furlongs? Where do they go? How do they campaign this horse? That's the worry with her going forward, but her performance was, for me, deeply impressive, but I just don't know where you go with the horse next. Vanillier was a winner on the weekend, but he was not deeply impressive to me. He looked a real slow boat, which he didn't look in the Albert Bartlett, but he has looked over fences. I don't know where you go with him. I think National Hunt Chase, but that would be just my view. Maybe he can show more speed in his next race. Maybe he'll look quicker over 3 miles, but I thought National Hunt Chase was what came to my mind. The mares listed hurdle. I'm not sure I'd take the form too literally with a mare's hurdle in mind, but I was disappointed with Tell Me Something Girl. She's been put out in the betting to 12 to 1. I still think we'll see a better horse at Cheltenham than that, so I wouldn't be too dismissive of her chances. Then again, it was a little bit disappointing. Royal Kahala was a little bit unlucky. Dysart Diamond actually won the race quite nicely for me. I'm just not sure about taking the form forward to Cheltenham. If Tell Me Something Girl was disappointing, then Put the Kettle On was through the floor disappointing. This is another De Bromhead mare who just ran terribly on the weekend. Champion chaser and being beaten a mile out was really disappointing from her. It paved the way for Newbie Negra to storm in, won easily. But taking out the champion chaser running such a poor race, probably the rumours were right, she wasn't working well, so it may not be as good a win as what people would think initially. I'm not trying to crab the horse. I know that lots of guys who watch the videos are on the horse at 25s and 20s, so they've got good prices, and you never know what eventually is going to make it to the champion chase. I just feel that if Shishkin and Energumen make it and the real Shakin Poursois turns up, it could be quite difficult, this champion chase. In a normal year, Newbie Negra would be right up there disputing favouritism. I have to put my hands up again now and say that I have got Echoes in Rain completely wrong. I was impressed with her 2 wins late in the season. Now, I didn't like when Patrick Mullins, Willie Mullins and Ruby Walsh started bigging this horse up midweek. Oh, she's in the tent that follows. This is a champion hurdle horse. I did feel the writing was on the wall, especially when she had £20 to find a Sharjah. If I'd heard nothing, I'd been far more confident. When they started talking her up, I knew the writing was on the wall, and she duly ran like a drain, jumped like a table, and was never in the race. She didn't just look £20 inferior to Sharjah, she looked £20 inferior to Zanahiyr as well. 3 rivals, lost to 3, and I've got it very, very wrong in this horse. She's the new San Roy. 2 eye catchers, one of which I've actually put a few quid on. So the one that I've put a few quid on was Volcano. I thought he only scraped into 6th, but it wasn't like he was running on or doing something special that you thought, oh, he'll improve a lot. I just have this impression that he's well handicapped off 127. That's why I backed him for the Martin Pipe last year. Now, he did scrape into 6th in the Pertemps qualifier. He will be in the final. With his British tax, he may get 131, 132, which probably just scrapes him in at the bottom of the weights. Take off £5 for Gainford, and you could be looking at a horse running the Pertemps off 10 stone, getting 2 stone off the top weights. So I've had a few quid on him at 20 to 1 for the Pertemps. I'm not telling anybody to follow me in, because it's just an absolute hunch, and it's like a Hail Mary, really, just on a horse who I thought would do better last season. So certainly don't be running to follow me in. It's not a bet for the videos. My £400 still intact. But I was keeping my eye on him. I really watching him throughout the race. And like I said, there was no skullduggery in it. He was lucky to get 6th. But I just feel he's well handicapped. And the final eye catcher for me today is a horse from a smaller yard. Now, the cat was almost out the bag before the race, because Gordon Elliott was interviewed, asked about Cool Survivor, and he said the Fahey horse was very fancied, and the big Doyen duly delivered an impressive display. He could be called the winner a long way out. Now, Cool Survivor did run free, but he'd won a bumper before, and the big Doyen blew this field apart. His time was 6.5 seconds faster than Sharjah. Now, even allowing for the hurdles of 0.5 seconds per hurdle, that's still 2 seconds faster than Sharjah. Now, Sharjah's race was run slowly, but this is a bumper horse, a big burly bumper horse who's clocked a very serious time, and I'd like to see the sectionals on this to see how quickly he actually came home. He'll be dismissed in the market. He is dismissed. If this has been a Mullins horse beating Cool Survivor like this, we'd have been looking at a joint favourite at 5 to 1 here. And he's 12 to 1. I'm not saying he'll win the champion bumper. I did like American Mike. It's hard when you've got two horses who've both been eye-catching within weeks of each other. Now, people will talk about the Mullins mare that won the bumper, but that was a mare's bumper, and I know people have asked me in the comments about this horse. I wasn't as impressed as others with this mare of Mullins, but I was really impressed with the big Doyen. I see him as a big danger to American Mike. I was impressed with his performance, I won't lie, and I did look at the prices after the race. I did think maybe he'd have been missed by one of the bookmakers who might have offered, say, 20s or so, but sadly not. But yeah, they were my two eye catchers. Now, I go into the bookmakers on the odd occasion. I'm in towns where there are bookmakers, and I go in, I look at the prices, and I haven't had a bet, like I said, yet, but 2 weeks ago I went into the bookmakers, checked the prices of two horses, and they were both 8 to 1. And I went in last week, and one was 5 to 1, the other one was 6 to 1 for Cheltenham. Now, neither had run in the interim, so they've managed to cap the price so you would lose 37% of your winnings on one of the signals, 25% on the second of the signals, and the double went from 80 to 1 to 42 to 1. So getting value is going to be extremely difficult at this Cheltenham Festival. We've had no bets. I've put my views up for this week. I hope you're backing horses who are contracting. It's not easy to find them. The two eye catchers this week, the big Doyen and Volcano. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. I'll be back to you next week. Have a great week. Bye for now.